Backing up your WordPress site is super important because it lets you restore everything if something goes wrong, like losing data, getting hacked, or having server problems. Hi, I'm Alex, a senior software engineer with a lot of experience in AWS cloud development. I will show you how to back up your WordPress site to an Amazon S3 bucket. We will use the Updraft plus WordPress plugin to do this. I'll also guide you through setting up an S3 bucket, creating an IAM user and attaching the right permissions. And lastly, we will use an access key and secret access key to configure the backup settings. Let's get started. I am in a dashboard of newly installed WordPress site. If you would like to learn how to do it, please check out my video on how to set up WordPress on EC2 instance. Let's go to plugins, and we're gonna go ahead and click on add a new plugin, and we're gonna search for Updraft Plus. And we're gonna find Updraft Plus WP Backup and Migration plugin and click install now. Let's go ahead and activate the plugin. And we're all set, so now we're gonna go to settings and configure the plugin. In the plugin settings, let's click actually on the settings tab. And here we are presented with many options where we can back up, and we're interested in Amazon S3. But before we do that, let's go ahead and create an Amazon S3 bucket and get the credentials, because if we select Amazon S3, right, it will ask us for access key, secret, and actually the bucket. Let's go to AWS console and go to S3. And here we're going to click on create bucket. And we'll just leave everything the same, and the bucket name will be my blog.alexrusin.com. We're going to scroll down and leave everything as a default, and then we're going to create a bucket. Our bucket is created. Let's click into it, and actually let's click on create folder, and we'll call our folder backups. And let's click on create folder. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a user and add permissions to the user to access this bucket. So let's go to IAM. So in the IAM, we're first going to actually create permissions. So we're going to click on the policies, and then we're going to click create policy. We can definitely select a service, right, as S3 and get all the permissions here, but I'm going to be using JSON. So let's switch to JSON and let's paste the following policy. And this policy basically allows all actions on S3 bucket, and your bucket will be obviously the name of your bucket, but my bucket name is myblog.alexrusin.com. Let's go ahead and click next. In the policy name, we'll put my blog S3 bucket access. And we can optionally put a description, but I'm gonna leave it blank. We're gonna scroll all the way down and click create policy. Great, our policy is created. Let's go ahead and create a user. Let's click on users and then create user. The username will be my blog user. We can create next. It says add user to group, copy permissions, or you can attach policies directly. That's what we're going to do. We're going to attach policies directly, and in the drop down we're going to select customer managed policies. And as you can see, we have the policy that we just created. It's called my blog S3 bucket access. Let's select that, and let's go ahead and click next. And finally we can just create user. The user is created. Let's click in the user, and we need to add security credentials to this user. So let's click on the security credentials, and what we're interested is adding or creating access keys. Let's click on create access key. In access keys gives us the best practices, and what we want to do actually is to have a third-party service, Updraft Plus, basically to access the S3 bucket, right? I'm gonna click on it. It's gonna say that it's not the best practice really, and the better practice would be assigning the IAM role to the EC2 instance that we're running the WordPress on, and then accessing S3 bucket that way. However, Updraft Plus doesn't provide this option. Let's click I understand the above recommendation, and let's click next. In the description tag value, we can put credentials for my blog user. Let's click on create access key, and we're given access key and secret access key. You will be presented with a secret access key only once, so be sure to copy and save it somewhere while you're doing setup. Okay, let's go ahead and switch back to WordPress. And now we have Amazon S3 selected, and let's go ahead and put the access key and secret key. So let's go ahead and copy access key. We'll paste that, and let's go get access key secret, and we're gonna paste that. And in the location, we'll put myblog.alexrusin.com/backups. Let's go ahead and click on test Amazon S3 settings. And we got an error right here. So seems like it cannot find the bucket. So it looks like we made a little error in our permissions. Let's go back to IAM, click on the policies, find our My Blog S3 bucket access policy, and let's click edit. And what we need to do, we actually need to allow to list all the buckets. So we're gonna add the following statement where we have effect allow. It's gonna list bucket and it's gonna list all the buckets. So now the Updraft Plus can actually find that bucket. Let's click next, and let's click save changes. Now let's go back to Updraft Plus and click test Amazon S3 settings again, and the test is successful. Let's click OK. Let's scroll down. We're gonna have include files backup. We actually want to back up pretty much everything, so but you can customize if you want. Email, I don't really care much for email, right? So let's go ahead and scroll up again. We have a files backup schedule. We can have it manual, or we can actually put it daily or weekly. I'll choose weekly, and database backup schedule, we also can choose weekly. And here in retain the backups, you can leave it as 2 or 3, whatever you want. But I think we're all good now, so let's just double check, scroll down, and click Save Changes. And our changes are saved. Now let's go ahead and test that everything works. Let's click on Backup and Restore, and we can click on a Backup Now. We'll check that we include everything, right? Include files and database, and this backup is gonna go to remote storage. And we can also check this if we only will allow to delete our backups automatically, because we set the maximum number of backups as 2. So this, if you have more than that, then Updraft Plus will automatically delete the backups that are more than 2. We're not gonna check this box, however. We can just click Backup Now. And it looks like our backup finished running. We see that it backed up database, plugins, themes, uploads, and others. And now let's go switch to the bucket. We'll go to AWS. We'll go to S3 bucket. We're going to click on myblog.alexrusin.com. We're going to click on the backups. And as you can see, we have the backup files there. So going back to the WordPress, in case you need to restore your site from a certain backup, you simply click Restore button right here. Backing up your WordPress website to AWS S3 using Updraft Plus is a reliable way to ensure your data is secure and easily recoverable. With scheduled backups and secure storage in S3, you can protect your website from data loss due to unexpected events. While setting up Updraft Plus plugin, we used IAM policies to allow the user access S3 bucket. If you would like to learn more about IAM policies and permissions, please check out our video on this topic.